You went in for one thing, a lamp, a $5 lamp. 3 hours later, you're pushing a cart toward your car that somehow has $400 of stuff in it. There's a plant, there's a set of drinking glasses you didn't know you needed. There are two of those giant blue bags. You have eaten meatballs. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a small, quiet voice is asking, what just happened in there? Here's what happened. You walked into one of the most carefully engineered buildings on earth. Every turn you took, every room you wandered through, every craving you felt was planned. You didn't lose control in IKEA. You were guided gently and expertly from the front door to the checkout by people who understand your brain better than you do. None of it was an accident. All of it is by design. Let me walk you through the machine. Start with the thing you think is just annoying, the layout. A normal store wants you to walk in, quickly find what you need, and leave happy so you come back. IKEA wants the exact opposite. IKEA does not let you find what you need. From the second you walk in, you are funneled onto a single fixed one-way path, a winding track that snakes you through the entire store, past every single department, whether you need any of it or not. You want a desk? Too bad. First you're walking through sofas, then bedrooms, then kitchens, then plants, then a department that is somehow entirely candles. And yes, there are shortcuts, little unmarked doorways that cut across the maze, but notice they're hidden, unlabeled, tucked away, because IKEA does not want you to take them. They want you on the long path, the whole path, seeing everything. You think you're shopping, you're actually being walked through a script. And that maze has a name. It's called the Gruen Effect. It's named after a man called Victor Gruen, the architect who basically invented the modern shopping mall. The idea is simple and a little sinister. If you make the layout immersive and overwhelming enough, the shopper forgets why they came in. They lose the plan, the errand dissolves, and they slip into a kind of pleasant browsing trance where they just start buying things on feel. Here's the dark little footnote. Victor Gruen ended up hating what his own invention became. He spent his later years publicly disowning it, but the genie was out of the bottle, and IKEA may have perfected the Gruen Effect better than anyone alive. How well does it work? It's estimated that around 60% of everything people buy at IKEA is a pure impulse. Stuff they did not know existed when they parked the car. And it gets better. IKEA's own creative director once admitted that only about 20% of purchases in the store are based on actual logic and need. Sit with that. 80% of what's in your cart is not you. It's the maze. Now, why does the path start with those showrooms? Those fully built fake rooms you walk through at the beginning? Because IKEA isn't selling you a shelf, it's selling you a life. When you walk into a perfectly styled little fake living room, you're not evaluating furniture. You're imagining a version of yourself, a calmer, tidier, more put together person who lives in this room, drinks coffee on this couch, reads under this lamp. One expert on all this described it perfectly. He said walking through IKEA is like being able to step inside a magazine advertisement and pick up the dishes and sit on the chair and try on the whole fantasy. And then there are the mirrors. IKEA places mirrors inside those display rooms on purpose. Because when you catch a glimpse of yourself standing inside the fantasy, some quiet part of your brain goes, yeah, I belong here, and I can have this. You didn't come to buy a bookshelf, you came to buy the person you'd be if you owned it. Then you get downstairs to the marketplace, and a new trick kicks in, the bins. IKEA has an actual internal name for this. They call it bulla. It's when they take cheap little products and pile them in big overflowing bins, deliberately jumbled and messy. And there's a reason for the mess. A neat, tidy, perfectly arranged shelf signals expensive. A chaotic bin overflowing with stuff signals cheap, signals bargain, signals grab it before it's gone. And it's always the small things in those bins. The $2 tea lights, the picture frames, the little plant. None of them feels like a real decision. None of them feels like spending. You've already got the giant blue bag in your hand, so you just dump them in, one after another. 10 tiny yeses that add up to a number you'll be surprised by at the register. And then, right in the middle of the store, something genuinely strange. A restaurant. Why on earth does a furniture store sell you a plate of meatballs? This might be the most underrated weapon in the entire building. A former head of IKEA's food operations said it out loud. He said, and I'm quoting, "We've always called the meatballs the best sofa seller." Here's the logic, and it's brilliant. Shopping is exhausting. A tired, hungry brain gets cranky, makes worse decisions, and most dangerously, wants to leave. That's IKEA's enemy. So right at the halfway point, when your energy is flagging, they sit you down and feed you cheaply. Food gives you a little hit of dopamine, your mood lifts, your energy comes back, and crucially, you never had to leave the building to get it. As that same food boss put it, when you feed people, they stay longer. They sit and talk themselves into the big purchase, and they make the decision without ever leaving the store. The cheap meatballs are not a nice perk for shoppers. They are fuel poured into the shopper at the exact moment the shopper might quit. And now we get to the final trick, the cleverest one, the one everybody completely misunderstands. You take your flat box home, and you spend your Saturday afternoons sitting on the floor surrounded by little plastic bags of screws, holding an Allen key, squinting at an instruction sheet that has no words on it, slowly losing your mind trying to build something called a billy. Now, obviously, the flat pack saves IKEA money. Flat boxes are cheap to ship, and you're providing the assembly labor for free. Everybody knows that part. But that's not the real trick. The real trick is what building it does to you. There's a famous study out of Harvard and Duke. Researchers found that people will pay about 63% more for a piece of furniture they assembled themselves than for the exact same item already built. They gave it a name. They called it literally the IKEA effect. And the subtitle of their paper says everything. When labor leads to love. When you struggle to build something and you sweat over it and you finally finish it, something happens in your head. You don't just own that object, you're proud of it. You bonded with it. That slightly wobbly bookshelf you cursed at for an hour is now your bookshelf. The researchers found people valued their own clumsy creations as highly as if a professional had made them. So understand what IKEA actually did there. They did not make you build the furniture to save a few dollars on labor. They made you build the furniture because the building is what makes you love it. The frustration, the Allen key, the swearing, that was never a downside they were passing on to you. That was the product. The annoying part was the entire point. So let's walk back out through the machine. The maze that won't let you leave. The fake rooms quietly selling you a better life. The mirrors that whisper you belong here. The messy bins screaming bargain. The meatballs refueling you at the precise moment you wanted to quit. And the Allen key that turns a tired customer into a proud craftsman who loves what he bought and will absolutely come back for more. And here's the part that should really get you. You weren't scammed. Nothing in there was a lie. The lamp really was $5. The meatballs really were pretty good. You just spent an afternoon walking through one of the most beautifully designed machines in the history of retail, a building engineered from the front door to the checkout to separate you pleasantly and relentlessly from your money. And the proof that it worked is sitting in your trunk. You went in for a lamp. I still can't draw, but now you know how IKEA tricks you into spending more.